Cold empathy. The use of cold empathy by the narcissist. It's their tool by which they scan your vulnerabilities. So they use cognitive and reflexive empathy as a way to sort of manipulate you into giving out those sort of chinks in your armor. So it'll look a little something like a joke with a jag, or saying something that is slightly insulting to you, and you may react to it and they'll say, well, I was only joking, or you're too sensitive. You always act like this. This starts to feed into our doubt and our anxiety. And this really does start to show where our chinks are, because they'll use certain subject matters, certain things that are to do with how you relate to other people. They will scan the environment around you to see how other people are treating you. Normally, in particular, your close relations, your parents, your siblings, people that you may have some sort of shaky relations with. They will tend to use those moments of sort of conflict or disagreement that you may be having with some of those people, and then apply cold empathy to that relational transaction, and then start picking you apart on it. And it's these moments that really expose the lack in us from our childhood that the narcissist takes advantage of. And this is critical for us to understand, because whenever a narcissist first spots you, sees that you are worth some potential to them, i.e., they've got something to gain out of it, there's something about you in particular, be that your job, your money, your looks, your house, the people you may know, there's some sort of gain for them to get out of it. Whenever we understand that the spotting and then the auditioning, which is really the love bombing phase, hypercathexis, this is to do with a mix of giving you narcissistic supply and grandiosity, so you start to feel that you're becoming, but at the same time scanning you all the time for your little vulnerabilities by having these little moments of jokes. And initially you may flow into that conversation where it seems like it's two-way. It all seems like a joke for a while, but then after a prolonged period of time of them keep pushing the envelopes and the boundaries, which they do, because this is about frustrating the mother. This is about the test of abandonment. Because whenever you understand the narcissist world and their abandonment issues, and the fact that mother neglected them, left them in their own internal world where survival was based on their own version of mother, which was very harsh and critical, there is no way back for them. And this use of cold empathy, they, for instance, cannot apply it to themselves. If they applied it to themselves, it would cause a self-perpetuating narcissistic injury, which would lead to a collapse, which would eventually lead to narcissistic mortification. That could potentially lead to them not being here anymore. So the avoidance of cold empathy on themselves is a critical indicator as to how they're going to engulf another person, because they don't like to be engulfed themselves, because that makes them feel like everything is too much, because mother was too much. Love to them is not acceptable. Shame and around the feelings around love feels like annihilation, because love to them was annihilation, because at the start they did feel a sense of connection to mother. Then mother cannot cut that connection off. Therefore, love is it's a misnomer for them. It's something that has disappeared into the ether of who they were. So the cold empathy and spotting and auditioning, these two parts, the love bombing and the cold empathy scanning and tests of abandonment that they keep doing, this is the moment. This is the moment that we can really spot who these people are. Be aware of their patterning, chipping us down via what may seem like very innocuous comments at the start, because they are at the start. But because the narcissist is always wanting to frustrate and test abandonment to see whether you're going to go, and to see what your sort of chinks in your armor are, or your vulnerabilities lie, this cycle of up and down, this is the essence of the start of the trauma bond, just before we get into the idealization phase, where the narcissist really hammers that home, sets you in place to be the perfect mother. They use sex to really hammer that attachment home. So it's important if we can recognize the narcissist at the spotting and the auditioning stage, the applied use of cold empathy, the continual insulting and sort of devaluing of you via little snarky comments, then this is the point where we can start to identify who's toxic and who's not. Peace out. Loads of love.